Don't do that.
Welcome to Three Grandmas Yapping About Movies.
Welcome.
I can never
Welcome,
tell if we're
everyone.
live. Are we live?
We're
Can we
live.
tell?
We're live.
Are we on
live?
Twitch? Let me see.
We're on
It
Twitch.
says-
We're in Twitch.television.
Oh my god, all the
It's-
fans are lined up.
It says live rec at the top. We're
There's
good. We're
900
good, boys.
people in the chat right now. That's so fucking
Oh
weird.
my
crazy.
god.
That's
That's
crazy.
We're
wild.
going to have to take an extra amount of time to answer questions from the audience because there's a lot of people and they have a lot of technical questions.
Well, that'll have to wait until the end of the show, guys.
I guess.
You guys want
Right
to introduce
now-
yourselves?
Yeah, I'm JC. I love pirates.
What do you do? What's your deal? What are you all about? What,
Where do you get off?
I play games and I watch movies and I
All right.
hang out in this community, I guess, and that's my
Sick.
life.
what about your friend? Who's your friend?
What friend? Who are you talking about?
This little guy on the bottom of the screen here. It says Time.
Oh, that's my
not your real name.
that's my twin.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Time?
My name is Time.
All right. His tummy hurts. So
My name is Mickey. Mickey Pizzazz.
Mickey
Join-
Wrong.
not joining us today is my better half, Rascal. He's not here today.
W
miss him.
Mickey W Rascal.
That's right.
Yeah, he'll be on the
yeah.
pod at some point, I'm sure.
I'm Time. And then joining us is
Absolutely.
our father here at Pragpro.
Who art in
Good
heaven?
afternoon. My name is Mr. Kennedy. I'm a very
Welcome.
powerful and influential ghostwriter and political consultant, and I give
Welcome,
my
everybody.
time to this community to try to make better boys.
He's you think he's joking, but that's legitimately who he is.
Legit, yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Appreciate it.
We're gonna be talking about a movie that Time has picked, but is also one of my
Yes.
childhood favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Pirates of the Caribbean: At World's End. So
Yes.
take it
the
away,
third
Tom. Why
movie. Third movie.
why did you pick the third one of all of them?
So there's a very specific reason why I picked it. I'd like you guys to guess.
Because you think it's the best one.
No, okay, so you're both wrong.
Hold on,
Okay,
no, I want to guess. Hold on,
You're not
hold
gonna
on,
get it.
time
You're
out,
not gonna
time
get
out,
it.
time
You're
out.
not
Hold
gonna
on,
get
no,
it.
if you want me to guess, let me guess. Become the free DVD. Okay,
So
go ahead.
this is how big brain I am, okay? So I needed to pick a movie, right? So my first movie was Tron, which was all our first movies. Now my second movie, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take something from your first movie and something from your first movie and combine them. So
Oh shit!
we have Leonardo DiCaprio, and then we have the guy who directed Coherence. James Bierkett? Was that what it is?
Yeah,
James Wood Bierkett,
James
yes.
Bierkett.
That's a
Okay.
nice shout out.
Yeah. So what did he do? He
Yep.
was a storyboard for Pirates. What is Leonardo DiCaprio? He was in What's Eating Gilbert Grape with Johnny Depp. Boom.
There's
we
another
did it.
connection though.
What's
The
the other
director of Rango,
Oh,
the
yeah,
writer of
yeah.
this film, also wrote Rango, and then didn't one of the directors of Rango? He did Tron, right? Is that
No,
don't
the
remember.
director of Rango is the director of this film, Gore
Yeah,
Verbinski.
Gore Verbinski. Yeah.
Oh no, but the writer of Rango was the writer of Tron or something. There's,
No,
there's
the
a connection
writer of
between Rango, Pirates, and Tron.
The writer
The point
of Rango
is,
is the director
I'm
of
smart.
Coherence.
I'm smart. That's the point.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I pulled
Okay,
some
okay. Now I
five-head
see the
bullshit on
Rango
you guys.
connection. Coherence,
that's the
Rango. Of course, you're smart, baby.
Is this how you're going to be selecting your movies going forward?
So
just this
it
like
was
5 degrees
like
of
a Rubik's
separation.
Yeah, it was, and I wasn't going to reveal it for a couple weeks, but you guys stumped me on the fucking Werner Herzog and fucking horror thing. It's hard to connect those dots because all I can get
Is there
to
a
is
Fibonacci sequence that
the only thing
connects all
I can
these
get to
movies too?
is the Nosferatu movie. That's the only thing I can pull from that. I was like, I don't want to fucking watch that.
Okay.
I'd love to watch
I
Nosferatu.
would love
That's
to
a
watch
fucking
Nosferatu.
banger.
We'll see.
That'd be a
We'll
W.
see.
Listen,
Who knows?
I mean, you'll see. You think you have a veto over our movies, and that's the crazy thing.
It's my movie. What are
Nobody
you
has a
talking about?
veto. Listen,
Don't
I'll
do
just
that,
mow right over you if I feel like it. I don't. Nobody has vetoes.
Whatever,
I don't veto
whatever.
anything you do, and you don't veto
Whatever.
anything I do, because
Whatever.
we're a triangle. You see, there's symmetry.
Triangle.
I
love
can't
it.
veto this side with this side because they're co-equal, and if I veto this side, it's not a triangle anymore.
Now it's open. Now we're open for attack.
Hell yeah!
So,
Well, do we want to actually talk about the movie? So
No,
where
I don't
did the
fucking care. I don't want to talk about it.
No, I don't
Talk
want
about this for another hour. I don't care. It's a podcast. I've seen five and a half hour podcasts.
This is our new format. We just mentioned the movie. I liked it. You like it. He liked it.
And then
let's just fucking talk.
It's
Let's
the
just
airing
just
of
talk
grievances.
shit for the next hour?
No, we're going to air
Don't
grievances.
even-
We're not just going to chat. We're just going to air grievances, and we're going to
These are
really
personal
go around in a
grievances
circle.
that we're gonna air. Yeah.
So when you came back to this film for this podcast, where were you with it? Like, is this a film that was a childhood favorite for you as well, time, or was this something that you hadn't
You saw it
seen
at the
in
dentist
ages?
office when you're waiting to get your
Had you
teeth
seen
cleaned?
it before, etc.? Where are you with this movie, time?
2007. Okay, so I was like 36 at this point.
Jesus.
God, I can't do the math.
Did the police come and talk
I was
to
20.
you
I was
when
20.
you went to see
I was-
this
I was
movie?
about 2021. So I think, yeah, so I had just met Flame about 2 years prior.
Ooh la la.
If I got the math
Chat.
right. Yeah,
Flame, Flame is his partner. If
Yeah,
everyone wants to know.
Flame
Chat.
is
She's
my...
also my partner.
No, I don't like saying partner. She's my girlfriend.
She's your girlfriend.
She's my partner and his
My
wife.
dumb girlfriend.
Whoa.
Girlfriend of what? 15 years? 20 years? Long time.
It's been
Gone.
almost 19 years. Anyways, that's not the point. That's not the point.
That's so beautiful.
Not the point.
It's gorgeous.
She had seen Pirates 1. I mean it's the third one, so whatever. So I think both Pirates
what?
come out at that point.
Okay.
So at this point, we both had liked the movie. We knew we liked the movie, and then when the third one came out, we're like, hey, let's go see him. And then we saw him, and then we never saw another Pirates movie because they never made one past the third one.
Oh, yeah,
You know?
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Wait, I thought they made like
had-
2 more movies.
No,
after
no.
Pirates of the
No,
Caribbean.
no.
If they
There's
had
only
made
three.
a
They
Pirates
filmed
4 and 5,
these films
we
successively.
did go see those also. If they did,
If
Oh.
they
they
do.
did, but they did.
Okay.
But they don't
sorry.
do that.
But yeah,
All right. Anything else
so I was in my 20s now.
before I dig in here?
Go ahead.
So is this a film you've always loved, Time?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I have the trilogy on a Blu-ray. I've liked them.
Same.
I like the ride. Pretty chill ride. Yeah, no, I've always liked it. It's never been something that I liked later in life. It's just the moment I saw it, I loved all of it.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I'll just, before Pragpro goes into his where he's at with the film, I just want to say that this is a film that for maybe about 6 months of my life when I was 12, 13, I watched them on repeat about over and over and over again for about 6 months. Like
And
Pirates
this
of the
is
Caribbean
before
was-
streaming, so you had to
This is
physically
way
watch
before
it.
streaming. Yeah, this is way before streaming. I had the DVDs, and I just pop them on as soon as one was finished. I'd pop on the next one. As soon as it was finished, I'd watch this trilogy over and over and over and over again. So it's kind of burnt into my head.
Yeah.
When I was watching this film, I found myself just saying the lines out loud, annoyingly. But yeah, so this is has a very personal place in my heart. I think over time there was moments where what am I trying to say? There's been times where the internet would try to convince me that this film was not as good as it was, and
I had
I
heard
fell
that,
for
yeah.
it a little bit.
Yeah.
This was not hugely well reviewed on its release, and I think they're crazy now. Now that I'm sane again, I think they're crazy because I love this film as well. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I love it.
I liked a lot of things about this movie. I liked the sets. I think the sets were perfect. The production was perfect. I mean, you literally could see $300 million on the screen.
Yeah.
And this was the most expensive movie ever made at the
Is that
time.
how much it cost? That's it?
300, no, but that's
Quarter
think
of a
about
billion, $750
$300
million.
million.
$300
But at
million.
the time,
And that time, you're right.
At that time
yeah.
was the
At that time,
the
yeah.
most expensive movie ever made, and you could see it because they're using a lot of practical magic. They're not just it's not laid on CGI because it was very new, kind of, to get that high level of CGI. You couldn't really do a whole film like they do nowadays with all the backdrops. So you could see that, and they were filming on location all over the world, and you have to consider look at the actors that they had and imagine their salaries and the contracts because they already had 2 really big movies in the first 2 Pirates films were tremendous successes.
Yeah.
And so, but listen, if you look at what it made in North America, it made only $9 million. But if you look worldwide, it made $609 million. So this was the time when Disney was starting to move to a more international audience. They were making edits with the international audience in mind. They made edits of this film for China. They cut out some parts of Chow Yun-Fat's story, who played the famous Singapore pirate.
Which I think is ridiculous, because I thought he was a great character.
Yeah, he was a good character, yeah.
Evidently, there was like 10 or 15 minutes that they cut out because China felt like it made Chinese people look bad because it discussed piracy. It's all bullshit.
I think that's silly, yeah. But to the point about it being the most expensive film of all time, not only that, but at that time, it was also the most expensive film of all time, adjusted for inflation as well. So...
and you can see it. The costumes are meticulous. The makeup is meticulous.
Absolutely.
The ship, a real ship, right? They have real fucking ships, pirate ships that they're using. It's a real thing. It's all beautiful. It looks gorgeous. Just like the park, the same aesthetic that they use in the park. The wonderful Disney. They have great sets, and they have great set directors, and it shows. And you could tell that they use people who probably work in the parks on the production as well, and it's just meticulous.
I mean, it felt like a whole world, like you're watching this giant thing happening in real time.
It's which is
what you would get in Fallout. In Fallout, everything just feels like a whole world. It feels amazing. You feel it drawn in.
You're talking about the TV series,
thought that was great. The Fallout TV show, yeah.
Yes.
So it's like an Alice through Wonderland experience, right? You're through the looking glass and you're into that. Yeah. And there are a lot of psychedelic elements to this film, like when he goes to Davy Jones' locker to recover Johnny Depp's character, and they have the crabs, and there's a long piece where multiple shots of Johnny Depp are taken, and they, it's like the whole crew of the ship is Johnny Depp. So he had to act out every single one of those little characters that's on the ship, and that must have taken a minute.
Also, if you haven't seen this movie, it's 16 years old, so I don't care about spoilers.
And not just that, but like,
you're not going to spoil anything.
But not just that, but I also feel like if you've seen Dead Man's Chest, then you've seen At World's End, and we're not going to shy away from spoilers of Dead Man's Chest. So why would we shy away from spoilers of this?
Were they one of those movies that were filmed at the same time?
Yeah, it was back to back.
Yeah, okay, right.
And they were released a year apart.
Here comes one of my criticisms, though. I thought the plot was extraordinarily convoluted. And I looked to see who wrote this, and they have the same team of writers on this film as all three films. And the same writer of Aladdin, the same writer of Shrek. It's Elliot and Rossio.
Yeah, correct.
So this is a writing team. And what it looks like to me is that they wrote something, they gave it to the studio, and then the fucking writers at the studio went cuckoo with plot lines, and they want to promote so many characters because they want to market to a wide audience, and they want to sell action figures. So there's too many. It's almost like the Avengers assemble in pirate form. And I understand that trope and everything, but a lot of the plot points, and each character has their own. They have their own reasons for pursuing whatever they're pursuing in their goal. They have their own motivations, which is important.
What I was going to say.
But there's so many fucking characters.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I think it's super convoluted, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
because I feel like all of
it's
actions,
not good.
I disagree. I think all of their actions are
should
traceable
never be like that.
from their motivations. Like, well, I mean. I might be biased
because
so
much backstabbing.
Yeah. There's so much double crossing, so much. But that's what I love about it, because they're pirates.
But it's just like you're like, what's going on? Who's on? Now you're on this side. Now you're on that side.
Yeah.
This is what you want. This is what you.
I might be biased because I've watched this film 100 times, but it isn't convoluted for me anymore. Like I watch it now. And I just follow it, and like it doesn't bother me anymore because I've seen it so many times. But I can understand like not having seen it that many times, and also like
they almost pulled it off. But they didn't.
I feel like they did. I
think they did.
I know they did it.
Yeah. They did.
I want to talk more about the great parts about this movie. The performances by every single actor is
all,
amazing.
Jeffrey Rush.
Yeah, Jeffrey Rush. Let's talk about him.
Amazing. He was amazing in the second one, and he was in there for 5 seconds.
at the
Yeah,
end.
and
Yeah,
he won
correct.
an Oscar for My Left Foot, right? Did Jeffrey Rush win the Oscar for My Left Foot, Best Actor?
Yes, and
This
the
film-
King's Speech, didn't he?
In The King's Speech. This
Yeah.
film is teeming with British trained stage actors that are
Yes.
all amazing. And if you want to look at this movie as a kind of like a musical without singing sections, without the musical part, because it's very much laid out like a musical in the sets and the cast of 1,000. It's like a,
Yeah.
that whole vibe you get from Chicago, but without the musical breaks. I think that's kind of what they had tonight.
I think it's fantastic.
in
It's like
mind, too.
like a theater show. It's awesome.
It's very, yes, like a theater show.
And let me correct you for a second. Jeffrey Rush isn't British; he's Australian. And I've met
I'm
him.
so sorry. I said British
yeah.
trained.
Yeah,
I didn't
he's a-
say British. I said British trained.
You've
Did
met
he study
Jeffrey
in
Rush?
London?
Well, he lived in the same area that I lived in Melbourne. And I was going out for pizza one time. I went into Domino's, grabbed my pizza, walked out, and he was just walking down the street. And he nodded
Nice.
to me. I nodded to him, and we went
Cool.
along our ways. But yeah, so just wanted
Was
to
this
he's Australian.
after Pirates?
This is way after Pirates. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was an adult at this time.
The two actors I want to note that are also probably not getting the credit is Tom Hollander and Jonathan Pryce,
Yes.
who play
Yes.
the British or the Dutch East India Company representatives, and
Which one was Tom Hollander? Was he Beckett?
Beckett,
Yes.
yes. He's
that
such
guy's
a little
crazy.
bitch. I
guy's
love him.
crazy.
They're just little
Yeah.
creepy little noodles, right?
He's
but
a
they do
little
such a great
shit.
job. And it's
Yeah.
cool because there's like 3 or 4 sides with the different, you have the Dutch East India Company, and then you have Davy Jones, and they're kind of working together, and then you have, you have lots of cooperations
Who was the other guy
going
you
on.
mentioned?
It's interesting. Hollander and Tom Hollander and Jonathan Pryce.
Who did
Yeah,
Jonathan Pryce
he's
play?
that's
Jonathan Pryce-
Elizabeth's father.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are famous British stage actors that
the guy who
people
played,
would
Yeah.
know.
Like the governor.
The guy who played Commodore Norrington.
Yes.
all those
he
guys.
He had a great arc.
Jack
you know?
Davenport, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I
he
love
had a
his arc.
fantastic arc. Yeah.
Can we, because I kind of want to go through the film, like, start from finish. Can
Can
we
I just
talk
shout
about...
out 2 more? Can we just talk about the actors
yes,
before we
yes,
do that?
yes, yes. Go ahead.
As I
go
want to
ahead.
talk about Stellan Skarsgård
What an incredible...
Is he a Skarsgård like the
from
family
Girl with
Skarsgård?
the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Oh, wow.
What
that.
a wonderful,
Okay.
little
He was
performance
great.
he gives
He was
as the
great.
father of
Yeah.
Orlando Bloom's character, who's Orlando Bloom's trying to
What
save.
about Davy Jones? Was it Bill Nighy? Is that what it is?
Bill
Now
Nighy,
he's amazing.
yes.
That's another.
Fantastic.
That's a
Fantastic.
Shakespearean trained actor. You
was-
can
he
tell.
was in
You
Shaun
can
of the
see the
Dead.
Shakespeare. You can see
One of my
the
favorite
and
movies.
Keith Richards is in the
Awful.
film, the
That was
guitar
awful.
player from the Rolling
I
Stones.
love him. I thought he was
I
great.
love
Keith
Keith Richards.
The Keith
I
Richards
can't-
felt just
I can't
so
stop smiling.
ham-fisted. It was just
You're
like
in
no,
my
no, sorry.
way, boy.
It was just too much. It was good though.
Listen.
it was too much.
I thought he was great. You're in my way, boy.
Who else we got?
Keira Knightley.
And do we know
okay.
the reason why? Do we know the
What's
reason
that
why?
sigh about? I thought Keira Knightley was great in this movie.
Yeah,
I think
thought she was
Kieran-
restrained.
Okay, so one of my notes was I think her character got worse the more the movies went on. And I
Oh,
think
you're
she
one of
gained
those
power?
guys. Here we go.
Huh? No. What the
Here
fuck?
we
No.
go.
Here we go,
She
JC.
She just got more annoying, and just her character sucked at the end of 3.
I
That's false.
completely disagree. Completely.
Yeah?
Like
Wow,
in
okay.
every
I'm here
way.
for
No,
her arc. I'm
her-
here for stepping into her power and
speech
ascending
is
to Pirate
fantastic.
Queen. It's sick.
Yeah.
her
It's so
Orlando
good.
Bloom were just so awful by the end of the series.
No.
No
They were
way.
great. Orlando
Yeah,
Bloom and
yeah.
Keira Knightley were smoldering. Those are my favorite
No.
scenes in this movie. When
They're
those
the
two are
heart
like
of the
with the
film.
eyes at each other. They're
They
like
weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't.
they're
Like
fucking
You're
each other
completely-
on
They took
How can you
such
love
a
this
back
film?
seat.
And
They
Bro,
took
you're
such a back
fucked
seat
up.
to everyone else.
what are you talking
did.
about? They're in the
can't.
middle of the battle and they get married. It's
But nobody
like,
cared. Nobody cared.
What do
It
you
was
mean
boring.
nobody cared? I cared.
It was like,
Oh,
oh, they
dude,
get
the
married
boring.
now. You guys
The
got
way
married
they
at the
execute
end
it
of the
is
second
fantastic.
one.
If you think
No, get
fucking
outta
is
here.
boring time, I can't help you.
I got something to
But
bring
there's
up.
nothing
That's
boring about the sex.
Wait
The
till we get
sex
to the
those
end.
two are having with their eyes on the screen.
Yeah.
There's
Wait till
nothing
we get
boring
to-
about
to,
that.
to the end of the movie because I'm gonna talk about some fucking because I
Dude, the
Wait,
sexuality
wait.
between those films, you get nothing like that in any modern blockbusters. Like Gore Verbinski was off his rocker for this film. For
when are we
real.
gonna talk about Gore Verbinski? That's what I
Yeah,
want
let's
to know.
He's
talk
the-
about Gore Verbinski.
I mean, he's a director. I love him. He
did
directed The
fantastic
Ring.
in this trilogy.
The Ring. What a great version of The Ring of Ringu he made for the Western audience. He didn't fuck it up, which is the hardest thing to do when you're taking a classic film and translating it to another language. Essentially, is what he did, and he did an amazing job in that movie.
And can you tell that he's obsessed with westerns? I mean, he made Rango. He made The Lone
Absolutely.
Ranger. And the way that like this film is shot, like the Mexican standoff on the
it's opera. It's three-penny opera, right? He loves those characters from westerns and from piracy and iconic figures having dramatic interactions. It reminds me of a lot of things that wrestling tries to do sometimes. You understand the character, you understand their motivation, you understand the other character, you understand their motivation. It's very clear. There doesn't have to be any nuance, and then their interactions can be very explosive and entertaining. And I think they're doing a great job. And the actors are great. Those actors can act their tits off.
But also the filmmaking when they're walking across like the sand bed, like in the final battle, and the way it's like crossing across their faces, and then it cuts to them walking, and it crosses to their faces. It looks straight out of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, like Sergio Leone. It's
right. They have that interaction. When they meet at the sandbar and they're like, oh, they have their okay corral moment, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday.
The worst thing about Gore Verbinski is that he is not getting the chance to direct a BioShock movie, which is very upsetting.
I agree. Yeah, that was in the works for a long, long time.
Yeah, because
and it just fell through.
He would have killed that.
Oh my god, he would have killed it. Yeah,
what has he done lately? What's Verbinski up to?
Do we know? He did a weird horror film called A Cure for Wellness. I think I'm trying to remember what his most recent thing he was working on was. Apparently, he's meant to be working on an X-Men film as well. But his last film was A Cure for Wellness, which I haven't seen, but I've heard is a bit of a cult classic. Okay.
I love the crab tornado scene. That was sick. With
all the crabs like fall. Yeah, okay. I want to start from the start of the film.
Everybody.
The opening scene, like I really love the opening scene.
That's such a good opening scene.
Right. They go to the Singapore hideout, right?
No. I'm before that. Before that.
Oh, when they're hanging everybody, when they're hanging on the pirates.
Right.
Yeah. And
the suspension of habeas corpus by the Dutch East India Company, and the suspension of the right to assembly, and the suspension of their natural rights, which they don't fucking talk about again.
What do you know? But that's what they're fighting for. Like they don't need to talk about it again. That's what they're fighting for. The whole film is that
without
freedom.
that scene, would you have known they're fighting for those things if that scene was not in the film, though? Because they really don't seem to have any philosophical underpinning with regard to...
But that's why you put the scene in there. Like, that's what filmmaking is. You put that scene in there so you don't need to have them say it. Like, it's just part of the dramatic core of the film. Like,
Keira Knightley's character talks about it. Keira Knightley's character does talk about it quite a bit in the film. She seems to keep reiterating what's at stake. And that's another reason why I think she had a three-dimensional character. And she did a very nice job.
But it's also like this is why I respect Gore Verbinski a lot, is because he makes blockbuster films, but I feel like he makes choices that you wouldn't see in like other blockbuster films, like an Avengers film or something. Like, there's no way that an Avengers film would open with a kid being hanged and then the coin dropping and then the title reveal is the coin hitting the floor, the pirate coin. Oh my god! Like,
no, it was good. It was good.
Wouldn't see stuff like that.
It reminded me of.
I feel like we were spoiled back in the day.
Reminded me of the French musical about the French Revolution, Les Miserables.
Les Miserables?
I haven't... Miserables, yeah.
Les Miserables. That definitely could have been a scene from Les Miserables. If you enjoyed that scene, you'll see a whole film about... And the musical version, the theater version of Les Mis is really good. But he has a lot of homages. He had an homage to Time Bandits when he had the ship traveling across the sand, a ship on land. And he had a lot of homage to 1920s and 40s slapstick. Like, there's certain scenes that he actually... not stole, but he bit in as like an homage. Like there's a scene when they're having that big battle in the Singapore pirate, and there's like a short, like a dwarf pirate, and he gets popped or whatever, and it's a scene that he cut. He took that exactly from another pirate movie. It's somebody who obviously loves Errol Flynn and loves big operas, and you could see all that stuff. You could see the Europeanness in the film, which I appreciated.
Yeah. You also notice that, like, I feel like from scene to scene, everything tracks. Like the pirates that get hanged, they're singing the song, and then immediately after the title reveal, it's the exact same song that that Elizabeth is singing in the Singapore scene. So you immediately know, like, she's in this now. Like, she's a pirate. For real, because she's singing the same song that the pirates were hanging.
And then
like she's
the same song is in that little carousel that the monkey hits when the bombs go off.
Yeah, ding 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 ding.
I like to talk about the monkey. Did you know that the monkey was played by two separate monkey actors? One was named Chiquita and the other Pablo.
No,
My
I didn't know
God,
that.
you did your research. No, I didn't know that.
I'm
that's
trying to
crazy.
become the greatest podcast reviewer of all time.
That's pretty. That's pretty normal though. They normally switch out animals because.
Yeah, but you don't know the name of the monkeys. I do.
I don't know the name of the monkey. No, but
Chiquita and Pablo.
I think Chiquita's too on the nose.
Yeah. I even love like the opening scene in Singapore. Like that that whole sequence is.
How much did that cost? I saw about $5 million right there in the set. I mean, those are just the sets are crazy. The sets are like whole. It's like Lord of the Rings level stuff. You know, basically when they created a whole world for Lord of the Rings. But you know, you could see it's just like, to me, that's the best part of the film was the production.
It's like Lord of the Rings, but good.
I love when they're under the water.
Lord of the Rings was nominated for Best Picture. This film was won an MTV Music Award for Best Film. All right, that's the difference between Lord of the Rings and Pirates.
I love the little, like, the helmets that they wear, and then they pop their heads up. It's very Apocalypse Now with all the smoke and everything. You know what I'm talking about when they're under the water
helmets.
and then they lift they're wearing like mushroom.
Oh yeah.
They lift their heads up and it's all steamy and
stuff. It's just
more
great world building. One thing that Disney has always done with their live action movies, if you think about like Mary Poppins or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or any of the great ones, or even Gus, is that they build a whole world that the audience can just fall into and just forget about whatever they're dealing with. And you're almost surrounded by the quality so that nothing takes you out of that world. There's not like a lamp or some weird costume or something that allows you to break that trance. And I think that's one of the great things that Disney can do.
Yeah. And I love like some of the gags and that, like, just some of the little aside gags that this film has, like when they show up to the door of Sao Fang and they ask her to remove her weapons and she
pulls out one big one. She's like,
I mean,
they've
it's just corny. I mean,
where the hell did that come from?
I appreciated the attempt, but anytime they tried to make me laugh in this movie, they just missed me because it was just too corny. It's just too obvious a joke.
Some stuff was too corny, but they landed a lot.
A joke has to surprise you. And I love that they gave the ancillary characters, like on the ship, larger roles in this. There was a real interaction, like between the two shipmates. You know, like the older rusty pirates, and they gave those characters real breadth, and they became really full characters, even though they were quote unquote minor characters. I could understand each one of them, and they did a great job of that. Character building.
I will say something, Time. There is one thing I don't like about Will Turner is that he always says the obvious. Like they're trying, like Sao Fang is like, kill him. Wait, sorry. Release him, or I kill the man. And he's like, and they're like, leave him. He's not our man. And then they're all looking around.
Oh, yeah.
And then Will just has to say the obvious. If he's not with you, and he's not with us,
who's he with? And then the Dutch East India Company, and they have a musket battle inside of a room. Well, that's the crazy. I'm like, whoa! They're firing muskets in a room.
I have a question about that scene, but because it's about a whole thing in general. So
yes,
are those royal guards or whatever you want to call them? Are they severely
the Dutch East India Company,
the Dutch whatever? Are they severely like at a disadvantage? Because every time they shoot their gun, you never see them reload. So they
would never do that.
Using the thing to start stabbing people.
Those are long range weapons. Those
I don't know what they're doing.
They don't go in there with knives and bats.
Yeah,
you don't go in there with fucking muskets. But it looked cool. I mean, it looks
cool.
Show.
It's what they did.
It looked amazing.
It shows
that's why they did it.
Yeah.
And I just love that they get taken out by the floor falling down, and they all just drop.
We're all gonna shoot at the same time. We're just gonna blind shoot in there. Are we gonna reload? Who knows? We'll just use a fucking little stabber on the end of
and
it.
And
that
was so useless. Everyone gets away. Like everyone. What was their plan? But no, and I love like throughout the action you get little character interactions like like Will trying to get Sao Feng to help him get the
trust
Black
and help
Pearl.
him,
yeah, because he wants to free his father, and he thinks the only way he's going to do that.
He gets fucking backstabbed.
He gets backstabbed, and then Sao Feng gets backstabbed by Beckett. Yeah, it's just like one after the other. He's like, but I think that's part of the fun of the film. Is that?
I mean, that's what Disney does great, though. Think about the ride.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been to Disneyland, JC.
Yeah.
Have you? I
have been to Disneyland. I've been to Disneyland,
Good.
Hong Kong.
So you've been on the Pirates ride. I don't know if they have a version of that. Because I mean, I know in Disney World they do in Disneyland, and the attention to detail on those rides are amazing. Because you have to think back in the 80s and 70s, every character on the ride has so much detail and little stories to it. Like there's the two pirates trying to get the key from the dog, and then they bring that scene back into this movie when they have to bring in a dog who has the key around his neck to unlock, whatever they have to do at the council. So that's an homage right to the ride, and I love that they did little things like that to keep everyone.
Also, speaking of homages, when they go off the edge and then the screen cuts to black, the audio is all from the ride.
Oh, really?
Cool. Yeah, because you hear like bells ringing, and you're like,
Starboard
matey, like that. Yeah, that whole thing. They splice a bunch of audio from the ride, and it's during that 5 seconds. I had no idea what that
was, but yes.
Also,
that's great.
Also, this movie confirms flat Earth, by the way, because they fall off the edge.
Okay,
that's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I didn't think about it like that.
And third thing about that. Yeah, third thing. So they fall off the edge, right? And then they go to Davy Jones. Does that mean technically that they died?
Yeah,
yes.
It's psychedelic. It's a DMT. They didn't fall off anything. They all went down to the bottom of the ship and they took ayahuasca and it came in a tea. And they had a shaman come. There was a lady.
We saw them
cooked it up, and then they
off the.
It's a dream, baby. It's a dream sequence, and they're
like
struggling with their id.
So they were dead, right?
And their ego.
It's the weird pirate version of the afterlife. You either get as a sailor, you either get a choice: you join the Flying Dutchman's crew, or you go to Davy Jones' locker. And that's basically where Jack went after.
Right. No, I know. I understand that. Yeah, I'm saying they're dead. They're 100%. Everyone's dead.
Correct.
And they come back.
And they come back. Yes.
It allowed Johnny to discuss his Hunter S. Thompson obsession in an interesting way, right?
That scene went on way too long.
This movie went on too long.
The movie
was too long.
The plot the pace was kind of fucked. I'm sorry, but it was.
I disagree. I was with it for the whole time. I don't agree. I'm still on team. I'm not making allowances.
You don't want to
listen.
You don't want to offend the 11-year-old boy in your brain that saw the movie the first time, and you don't want to break his heart by pointing out that there were some wrinkles in the tablecloth.
I disagree.
Doesn't mean it wasn't a delicious dinner. It just wasn't nutritious.
I think it worked for me, and I think all the craft and everything, it still works for me. What I wanted to say was I love the turn for Davy Jones. Like the last film, he was the full villain, right? In this film, he's bitch made by the British, and it's so funny.
They're a company. They're not from a nation. They're the Dutch East India Company. They're a corporation.
Yeah.
Think of like Enron or Exxon Corporation, which makes it better. Or BP. Yeah, just think they're from BP.
But they control the government. They control the governor.
That's where they made
East
their
Indian Trading Company, right? That's all.
Dutch East India Trading Company controlled the world at one point.
Yeah.
The nations would hire them to go and take over different, So that's the story.
He made him kill the Kraken, which I think was a good way to get rid of that atomic bomb from the film. But I do.
What was the leverage that they had on him? What was
his heart? They had his heart.
Oh, so they could just kill him essentially, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
But
exactly.
It's weird because I don't know why he didn't goad them into killing him, because it's well, kill me then. You have to replace the heart with someone else's heart, so do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like he wants to be alive. Davy Jones. He enjoys,
But
living, I guess.
But he pulls that
And
card on Jack at the end when he's like, "Do it, okay, I'll fucking kill Will. I don't give a shit." Like,
well,
like,
at
you're
this,
not gonna stab my heart.
but the problem
pushed him
is
too
that
far.
he's like Calypso has left him. Like the whole film, like the
She
whole
was playing
thing
him
about
the whole
film,
time, though. She
Yeah,
admitted
but
she was playing him.
He didn't know that. Like
No,
that's
he
why
didn't
he
know
wanted
that.
to
You're right.
live because he still believed that he still had a shot.
And they played that nuance very well.
Yeah.
That
I
unrequited
think
love.
all the characters,
I think
are great.
Davy Jones
in this
was
film.
such a cool villain. Just the look of him, like his character, like the way he looked, was amazing.
Yeah, and I'm glad that he got set free
Excellent
at the
CGI,
end,
yeah.
and he became the main villain again. Like, well, I mean, I guess Beckett is still the main villain, but I mean, he still got to have the showdown with our main characters.
He killed that one dude that was controlling him at the end with his little tentacles, and they went in his mouth. That was gross.
That shot
That was so
always freaked
satisfying.
me out as
I
a
hated
kid.
that fucking guy.
Yeah, and he's great in the film as well. I don't know that actor's name, but he's fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Played Bill Nye. Is that his name?
No.
The
he was like the
right-hand
assassin or whatever.
man of Beckett.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The Dutchman is under my command.
Yeah, he's doing the
For
Empire.
now.
It's basically Star Wars, except with pirates. Right? They took
the-
Star Wars and they put a pirate.
Yeah. But I do want
that's
to
fine.
talk about. I really like the editing in this film a lot. Like I love
No.
the scene. Stop. Hold on. Let me
No.
talk about it.
No.
There's so
No.
many great. There's so many great editing gags in the film. Like there's the moment where he's pulling the rope off the ship in Davy Jones' locker and it's falling down, like, and it's still falling, and then it just cuts to him like trying to pull the ship. It's hilarious.
JC,
I
if you
love
looked at
stuff
the,
like
the
that.
continuity errors in this movie,
There are
it
none.
was
I
not
don't
good
believe
editing.
you. I didn't notice.
Oh,
that.
you can. There's a lot of pages of it. You can see they fuck up scene after scene.
I do love when they, like, after they've fallen off the edge of the waterfall and they've landed in Davy Jones' locker,
Right.
and they've just landed on the beach, and Elizabeth's like, "I don't see Jack. I don't see anyone." It's like, you just got here. You haven't even.
Just came on shore. What are you
That's why
talking
my-
about?
Just came on
All
shore.
of my problems with this movie are the script, and it's not
I
the,
don't
the,
think it's
the
a
words
problem,
that they're
though.
saying, but the design of the story. How
I don't think
the
it's a
plot
problem.
unfolds is not the way to go. The way to go is the
Okay.
first Pirates movie. The first Pirates movie is a perfect movie, because the way it was laid out and it was a little smaller and it was more interesting and it was novel. And I think they just pushed it too much because they're just making too much money. And I think that the actors saved it and the sets and everything else, but I felt like they probably delivered a good script, and then fucking Disney got in there and they just started
don't think so.
moving shit around. And
As far as
I
I,
don't know,
understand
man.
about the as far
It
as I
doesn't feel
understand about the production of this film, they basically gave Gore Verbinski to do whatever he wanted with this, and he.
okay, well then he fucked up.
I don't agree. Here's what I'll say though is that I do think the first Pirates film is like. It's more concise. It's a smaller told film, but I feel like the highs of this film are higher than the first film. Like I feel like the bits that really work a lot harder than
It was
they do
an
in the
unnecessary. Every sequel of that is just unnecessary. It's just unnecessary. And it shows
I don't
up in the
agree.
reviews. That's why it gets a 44 from Rotten Tomatoes, because of the editing and the continuity
You can't
problems.
you
and
just can't
the
just
garble.
defer to the reviews.
I'm saying, I just looked at the reviews. I
No, I
didn't
get
even
it.
know that was their sentiment, but I agree with the sentiment now that I see it, and they do give credit to the performances and to the sets, and I do, but I still think that unless you just watch the first two movies and you're watching it back to back to back, and maybe you haven't seen this in a long time, and maybe you didn't see it 75 times when you were younger. I got a little lost sometimes, and I don't need that from my Disney film.
Did you watch all three?
And I know all the characters. I have seen all the films. I know who all the characters are. I understand the bold points of the plot. It's just some of the ways they express the plot through the story arcs and narrative could have been a bit cleaner.
Okay.
And who am I to say the people who wrote Aladdin and Shrek don't know how to plot? Because they do. I know they do, because they're decorated, perfect. They're very good at writing family films. So
Yeah.
So I'm just blaming the studio.
So you were saying you didn't like a lot of the humor in the film. So were you a fan of the like?
It's not that I didn't like it. I'm sure it hit their audience square right between the eyes.
Like me.
The 12-year-old, the
I am their
13-year-old, the
audience.
14-year-old.
their
I'm just saying that's who they're not trying to target me. They're trying
I'm
to
their
target a
audience.
general audience, right? So they make the jokes very general, and I appreciate their jokes, and I understand the joke, and I smile at the joke, but it doesn't make me laugh like I can't not laugh, right?
I
When
was
somebody makes
laughing
me laugh,
consistently last night watching this.
all right, well,
But go
how
on.
could that be? You've seen the jokes before.
But I
I'm
love
talking
them.
about made you laugh. I'm not saying you're
It made me
allowing
laugh.
yourself to laugh. There's a difference between
No,
allowing
it's
yourself
not
to laugh
true.
and being forced to
It
laugh.
was natural. It wasn't forced. It was natural. Like I just
No.
laughed.
I didn't
just
say
loved
forced.
it.
You're allowing yourself to laugh. Nobody, when somebody
And you
really
should
makes
be.
you laugh, you don't see it coming, and you can't control yourself.
You go to
And
a
you
comedy
laugh
show, you allow
despite
yourself to
yourself.
laugh. You watch a film, you allow yourself to laugh. You allow yourself to cry. You allow yourself to be scared. You allow you've got to open yourself to laughing. I'm
saying you can open yourself, and they can also get you.
And I think they landed.
And they didn't get me.
I think
They didn't get me.
Okay, fair enough. But what
They just didn't. I can't lie to you and say they made me laugh extemporaneously. I didn't plan to laugh. I wasn't, and they made me laugh. I couldn't stop laughing because they really figured, they got in my brain and they just didn't do that, which is fine.
Okay.
They weren't trying to do that.
But did you like the Jack Sparrow, Captain Barbossa fighting over the ship thing? Like I thought that was
Jack Sparrow,
like so in their characters.
Listen, man. There's a reason I haven't brought up Johnny Depp. It just becomes cloying. His performance as Jack Sparrow becomes cloying by the third movie. I've seen enough of Jack Sparrow. And then he does the same character. He plays Tonto in Lone Ranger, and he's basically doing Jack Sparrow, but now he's a Native American. Johnny Depp has been writing this fucking Jack Sparrow too long, and it's just cloying to me. I loved it in the first movie. Second movie, less so. The third movie, nowhere near as much. The fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh fucking movie.
I'm gonna agree with Prag and say that hold on, JC. That Johnny Depp is playing the same character essentially, but
it is the same character.
No. That's like going forward, like past, like he's playing Jack Sparrow all the time.
I still think he's locked in this film. Like I still think he cares about his character in this film. But go on.
It doesn't change the fact that this movie is funny. It doesn't. The Barbossa and Jack, they're back and forth on the ship saying, you know, it's like, why do you keep saying what I'm saying? I'm the captain. No, I'm the captain. That whole thing, that was funny. Like.
Yeah, I love it.
There were parts that I didn't find
the
funny.
telescope thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was funny. Yeah. There's a lot of parts like Okay, for example, the thing I didn't think was funny, I thought was kind of ham-fisted, was at the very beginning when they're searching Elizabeth, and then he's like, you know, get all the weapons out, and she does that, whatever, and then he's like, you know,
remove it,
and then they cut back to the guy, and he just smiles, and he's like, that was so forced. That wasn't funny.
Also, the looking under the floor thing from the skinny pirate guy, I hated that as well. Yeah,
that was funny at the time, but yeah, it was just not funny now.
Yeah, I don't. It's just kind of.
But generally,
the same things that made me laugh,
it was funny.
Changes. Sometimes the things that make me laugh change over time.
Yeah,
you know, the same things, and I'm not attacking. I'm not saying no. That was a low form of humor, and I'm just so brilliant that they couldn't touch my funny bone. That's not what I'm saying, because that's not exactly. That's because the Three Stooges makes me laugh still, because there's just another level of craftsmanship that you have to hit when you're trying to do a general audience sort of slapstick comedy. That if you'll get the person when they don't see the joke end coming. That's what makes slapstick funny. The first time someone saw someone slip on a banana on a show was fucking hilarious. But the 180th, 1000th time, it's not as funny anymore, because the first time it was, you know, it was a surprise. And when you're a kid, one of the wonderful things about going to the movies is everything is a surprise. And Disney knows that. And they go in there, and I wish I had that still. And I would have, you know, laughed my nuts off if I was still that age. But it just didn't hit me that way.
The thing I do like, I also respect about this film is I find Gore Verbinski to be super creative in the way he, he finds so many different ways to present death, or like the way they present Elizabeth's father's death, like him just floating on by in the boat.
Yeah, that
oh
was
my
touching.
god, it's just heartbreaking. I
like
Keira
that scene. I
Knightley's
like that scene.
reaction
It heart.
is
Well,
just
her initial reaction was like when she goes, "Oh, we're
it's
back,"
like, oh,
and then
we
it's
made
like,
it back.
"We're not
Yeah,
back."
it's like we're not back. Oh my
Yeah.
god,
Daddy,
like
Daddy,
that actually gets
throw him a
him.
line,
Yeah.
Daddy.
He's like,
But
no,
you know
she
what?
can't leave the ship.
the
She'll die.
the good part
Yeah.
about that is she asks or she says, I'm back, and then instead of having someone just immediately turn her and go, "Oh no, we're not back yet," like whatever, she was able to kind of interact with her dad at first, and there's a breathing room to kind of like
Yeah.
make it more emotional, and then they're like, "No, we're not back."
Yeah,
Then it's like a lot sadder,
And I
Well,
also
but
think it's a smart
speaking
way
of-
to deliver. Hold on,
No,
sorry.
good.
Yeah, I also think it's a really smart way to deliver exposition as well, because through that they learned that the heart is how you kill Davy Jones, and you have to replace it with another captain, right? And that's how
Yeah.
Jack learns that he can become immortal if he stabs the heart. And there's so many moments like that throughout the film where they use like they kind of sneak the exposition under emotion, under an emotional scene, and I think it's smart. I think it's good writing.
And to your point, in that scene, when he's explaining the whole, you have to stab the heart to whatever, the camera zooms in on Jack Sparrow's face, and he's like, like you can see the gears turn in his head, where he's like, I need to save this for later.
You always know where every character's at, like in this film. I think it's its best quality. Like out of all of you, obviously Prag thinks the production design's great and everything. For me, the thing that's most impressive about this film is the way that every single character, where they're at, and you know what they're doing, and you know why they're doing it at every point. And
because if I see it, I'm 9, and I need to have everyone in place because I will get confused and I'll start crying in the theater.
But that's drama. Like, that's good drama. Like, that's how you write drama. And I think that's what makes the best stories, is when the character... Like, I don't mean that the characters tell you. I mean that the film directs it in a way where you understand it without them telling you, is what I mean. I think you always understand. Going
back to the whole slapstick thing that Prag was talking about, I immediately thought of something where they're doing the Mexican standoff, where they're pointing the guns at each other, and then they try to shoot, but the powder's all wet, so then they throw the guns or whatever, and then the two guys that are always on the ship, they're like, "Why are you throwing the guns for? You can use them as clubs." And then he hits the other one on his head.
It's good. It's good slapstick comedy.
It's mid.
Oh my god!
It's just
Come
mid.
on.
It's just mid-range.
It's good.
It's not bad. It's not
hilarious.
good. It's just
Get outta
chicken
here.
nuggets with the barbecue sauce, right? I get my 6 crispy nuggets. I know what they're going to be. I don't care that it's pink slurry made from Jeffrey Rush and Orlando Bloom. I dip them in my barbecue sauce.
So we have a
I
question.
eat 4 hours later because there's no nutrition in it, but it's fine. It
question
tastes good. It fills my tummy.
Question from the chat, and it's did Jack Sparrow get eaten in the last movie?
He did, yes, and he got taken to Davy Jones' locker by the Kraken. Yes, correct.
And then he used ayahuasca to revive him.
Yes,
he did some DMT.
Can I say the? I just want to talk about the tipping ship scene. The soundtrack in that scene when they're tipping the ship is just perfect.
Hans Zimmer, right? Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hans Zimmer.
Correct. He did.
Golden
yes.
Goat.
Oh wow.
I think this is the best score out of 3 films as well.
Yeah, it was very good.
I feel like Dead Man's Chest was just a remix of the score of the first film, but this film's soundtrack, they do a lot of new stuff with the soundtrack, and it works. Especially as I was discussing before, the Western sort of inspired standoff. Like, they add the twangy guitars that you hear in Westerns, and the
again, the production was excellent. The production was amazing.
And just that whole tipping scene is one of my favorite scenes, like in any blockbuster.
Yeah.
Just the
and
fact
the guys
that
tie themselves. They tie themselves on the mast.
They try to be the right way.
That was
sight gag.
See, that worked. I don't know why some things work and don't.
I don't know.
I love that Jack is like, "What's that?" and everyone starts running to the side until they realize what he's doing, and then they're all on board. And I just love, and once Barbosa realizes, he gets everyone downstairs to release all the cannons and all the cargo, and and I just love the slow the characters realizing what he's doing, and But I do love, like, imagine if they flip the ship and it just doesn't work. Like, he
Mhm.
was just wrong.
Yeah.
There's so many moments like that where it's just like roll
Right.
credits. Like,
and then when he escapes, how about when they escape from the Dutch East India Company and he ends up
Yeah.
like cutting their sails and doing all
Oh,
kinds
yeah.
of like that was sick. That was cool. Like
Yeah.
because
And then-
they're like looking at him sail in the distance. And then I don't know what the line is. But
Yeah, that guy
we
makes a
follow him
comment.
or
He
something,
goes-
and then the fucking sails just drop. That was
yeah,
cool.
it's like, when can
right after
that was
when,
nice.
when can be ready? Yeah.
Right after the sales drop, that guy makes that comment, and they've done this twice in previous movies where he's talking to Beckett and he's like admiring Jack Sparrow and he goes, "Do you think he
Right,
just
the
makes it up as he
handiwork.
goes along, or does he
Makes it
just
up-
plan it all?"
Right, that's the line.
And he
That's
looks
the
at him
line.
and he's like,
Yeah,
"You
he
He
says-
thinks
motherfucker."
we're going to he plans it.
Do
and then
you
the
think he
fucking
plans it
drops.
out? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was great. This movie,
Um,
it seems like the best parts of this movie were packed in the beginning sections, and as the movie went on,
That's not the
it felt,
beginning
I felt
section.
like there
That's
was
like
less.
midway.
That was like
I mean,
middle, yeah.
That's midway through
There
the
was
film.
less good moments as time went on. I felt like,
Okay. Well,
but I'm just saying, there's a lot of good scenes in this, but towards the end, it seemed to drift a little bit for me.
Also, you have problems with the script, but then at the same time, I feel like this film is one of the
Continuity.
most quotable films ever.
No,
like,
not with the
like,
lines.
There's so
not
many
with
great
the lines.
films.
No,
What
no,
are you
not with the
talking about?
lines. I'm not. My problem is not with the acting.
You're
and the
thinking about
lines
the
that
structural.
I'm talking about the
like,
structural
screenwriting. Yeah.
narrative, the
No, that
parts
makes
of the
sense.
script that are not the words coming out of the actors' mouths. The
Yeah.
story, how the story is related. It could have you could have had the same story, the same script, and just changed a couple things to iron. I don't, just to make it a little more easy for the average moviegoer who was not a Pirates super fan
Okay.
to bring
Fair.
them along and feel. I didn't feel like I cared as much as the team as somebody else would, because you have a deeper relationship. I wanted to care about the team and what the team was doing. I cared about, like, for the first Avengers movie. This is a classic example where they really figured out a way to make you care about the goal of the team and the interactions between the team members, and the very similar kind of narrative between the first Avengers and this kind of movie, because you're assembling heroes to do a quest, right? It's a Joseph Campbell sort of setup, right? It's the hero's journey culminating in the combining of the forces of all the heroes once they've become heroes, right?
Yeah.
And there's some movies that do it a little differently and a little better. It's a classic story, and
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. I feel like from where I'm staying, there's a reason why it worked for me when I'm young, and there's a reason why it works for me now, and I think it still is the way the film is made, the craft and everything. I
still
think it
beautiful
still works.
film. It's still beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to talk about how
There's a
Stone
lot of
Cold.
beautiful films that are not good. Like The Great Wall was a meticulously crafted movie made in China, but the
But I
script
don't think that film's good. I think this
down.
film is good.
Well, we'll get to our scores.
go-
I don't say good or bad. I just give a score.
Go ahead. What you were gonna say, Tom?
I just want to acknowledge how much of a stone cold killer that fucking Beckett is. He is so unwavering. He is just consistent
Yeah.
the entire way.
I like
throughout.
that.
He never shows any weakness until the very end, which is one of my favorite parts, because his death scene is so
He's
fucking
incredible.
good.
Yeah,
Just seeing
he's
his
a
world
W
around
Darth
him
Vader.
crumble.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
a W
I
Darth
watched
Vader.
it in slow motion, and it is so crazy just to watch as he's touching part of the stairs. It's just evaporating under his hands, and it looks so good.
Yeah,
You know,
And
it's just so much detail to it.
I love what it represents as well. It's showing like the world, like the orderous world, like that he has constructed and he wants is just crumbling around him because the pirates resisted, and I think that's really good messaging.
He
I
thought
like
he
a
had
lot
him.
and they organized. Not only did they resist, they had to organize in order to resist effectively.
Correct.
And that's
And
the
it's-
other message of the story. It's a story of family and families that we make out of friends, and the things that we can do together that we can't do alone. That's what the movie's about.
Yeah, and I think it's fantastic.
That's a great message.
Yeah, it is a shame that the British did eventually win, but the East India Trade
Not
Company did
the
eventually win.
East India Company is not the British.
But they run the British government. They own
Same
the
thing.
governor. They're
Right.
British.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, I mean, it is nice to watch a pirate film and live in, fantasy land and be like, maybe it did work out for them. We know it did.
It's the Empire and the Rebels. It's the Empire and the Rebels, right?
Yeah.
The
It's
classic
nice.
story, which is great.
Yeah.
That's a classic story for a reason, because that's a classic human experience, is that you're put upon by powers that are bigger than you until you figure out to make yourself strong enough to finally group with other strong people to push back. And I think that's a brilliant story of humanity.
So I've still got so many notes. Are we
cooking.
wanting to wrap it up, or do you
No,
reckon
I'm not.
we can go for
Listen.
another half an hour? Well, it's
Go
up to you,
ahead.
Time. I don't really know what you want to
Keep
do.
rocking. No stage notes. Just go. He'll let you know when he's had enough. He'll wander away.
Yeah, I'll just leave.
JC, we're doing a show. JC, you don't stop the show. You don't stop the show in the middle of the show and say, "Hey, listen,
just keep going.
Are you happy to keep talking for another half an hour?
Just keep going, brother.
Okay, cool.
You're too polite.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to get back to the quotable lines. There's that great scene where after they've escaped Davy Jones' locker and they go to that island where the Kraken has been laid to rest. And they're reminiscing about the fact that the British obviously have way more power than they're expecting. There's just no way that Jack can run from them.
Right.
And that's when he kind of has the realization, oh, we probably need to fight these guys. We probably need to stand up to them. I love that line that Barbossa's like, the world used to be a bigger place. And then Jack responds, he's like, no, the world's still the same. It's just less in it. And I feel like it speaks to how much like this kind of oppressive fascist. No, I won't say the East India Company was fascist, but they were definitely.
It is fascist. It's literally the definition of fascism.
You'll let me.
Is the absence of democracy, and that's what the East India Company was.
You'll let me say they're fascist. Okay, they're fascist. And
Absolutely.
That's kind of like they ruin the kind of diverse like cultural ideals that the pirates have. They make the world less interesting. They don't make the world smaller. The world's still the same, but they make it less interesting. And that happens for every single fascist dictatorship that's ever been around.
Power, you don't have the consent of the governed, and it's a monarchy essentially. I mean, fascism is just another way of saying a monarchy, right? It's the king at the end of the day. They have the final say. You can't get rid of them. That's what it is. And you don't have rights. They give you rights and they take them away. And you don't know what the score is.
Yeah. So there's a ruling class that takes your rights away and essentially just sanitizes the world from its interest, from its diversity, from its cultural beginnings. And I think that line encapsulates that so perfectly.
It's kind of ironic from a Disney film, though, isn't it?
Less in it. It is very ironic.
It's the Disney Corporation, and they've homogenized cinema for 50 years and taken they've turned the Jungle Book, the story of India into the Jungle Book, and all kinds of different things. So it is ironic.
But like, there's obviously a clash between like artists, like the writers of the film, and the benefactors of that make the money. Obviously,
right.
So you can't really say Disney made this statement. You're saying Gore Verbinski and Ted Elliott and Rossio made this statement.
No, it's good that Disney's smart enough to allow that. They understand that this is actually how people feel. Yeah. Disney's smart enough to know that even though it's not in their interest, that's how people feel. And they want to be a mirror to the audience, right? They're not trying to refract, or they're not trying to warp it or change anything. They just want to reflect right back to you that which you already felt when you walked into the cinema. And that's for better or worse.
And when I say that everything is character motivated, like we were talking about how Will betrays the crew, and then Xiao Fang betrays Will, and then Beckett betrays Fang. Like, Time, you were talking about how that's like really, like, it's funny and it's fun and everything, but it's also great because it stops at the British, right? And that's when Xiao Fang realizes that he can't work with these guys, and that's when he turns and they talk about Calypso, and he very funnily thinks that Elizabeth is Calypso. For some reason. I think he just thinks
because
she's
he has hots for her. He wants to wants to pirate with her.
So he brings her back,
and there's almost a rape scene, right? I mean, that was a crazy scene when he's like, she's like, well, what if I'll accept
What
your
if I
gifts,
say
and
no?
what if I don't give you the gifts? She's like, I'll take it, and then
I-
he starts moving in her, and then the cannon hits. Right?
And that's another great scene of you see Elizabeth's gears turning as she realizes that Sao Feng thinks
She can
she's
spin this,
Calypso,
yeah.
and then she spins it in her favor. She's like, "What if I was to say
Mm-hmm.
no?" And then he assaults her. She
It
bites
begins,
him.
and then
Yeah.
she gets out of it because they
Yeah.
attack
And then
at
he
the
gets
same
blown
time.
to-
I would have liked to think she would have cut his nuts off with a little rapier or something, a little knife.
But he gets blown to pieces, and obviously he makes her captain because he thinks she's Calypso. And it works out for her. I think it's great. She uses, it was her decision to go with him. Will's like, no, you can't make this deal. And she's like, yes, I will. And it's because of her decision that she becomes captain. Like, every decision she makes,
she doesn't
she
use
empowers herself.
She's using her brain through the whole trilogy. She's not out here doing big sword fights and using
She does,
power.
but
essentially, but she's not relying on that. She's also using her wit, and I think all the heroes in this kind of use their wit too, which is nice to see. It's not just all brute force.
And there's also the great moment where they're like, "You are not my captain," and then Davy Jones shows up and he's like, "Who's the captain here?" And they're like, "Her, she's captain." Like they
point to her right away.
They instantly give her authority. It's great. And then
There's
Norrington shows up and she's sorry, go ahead, Tom.
He good, but yeah, he just immediately just fell back into that moment. Oh my God, I'm so glad you're safe. You're so happy. You could stay in my room tonight.
Yeah, and she's like, no, you're the reason my father's dead. Like, you represent the people that killed my father. And he's like, I didn't know. And she's like, no, what? Which side you chose? And then she steps back and she joins the crew. And she and she goes, well, now you do. And then that switches him. Like, all of it is just so character motivated. It's great.
She kisses that one dude when she goes onto the other ship, right? And she's making her escape.
I'm talking about that guy, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Norrington.
Because he switched sides. Yeah, he switched sides after realizing that it was the British that killed her father, and
little femme Nikita.
Yeah. There's a question in the chat, and it was, "Did my cat enjoy the movie?" This one right here.
Did your cat enjoy the movie?
PJ did watch it with me. He did enjoy it. My whole family watched it. I had PJ. I had Flame. MJ was there. MJ is a particular fan of this movie because she looked like a monkey when she was born. She had that monkey, like the little monkey face. So it looked just like
Pablo
and
Chiquita. Shout out to Pablo and Chiquita.
Yeah.
So she sees the monkey. She sees the monkey.
Yeah. And that monkey is batshit insane, which is what MJ is. She's a little batshit insane cat. So yeah, everyone enjoyed it.
That.
We loved it.
There's another gag. I love when they shoot the monkey out of the cannon. It hits the hits the Pirates Party. Will and Will's like, "Thank you, Jack."
How about when they're pointing the guns at each other like this, and then the monkey pulls the gun on the parrot?
On the parrot.
That was clever. Dude, that's funny.
Great. Yeah,
but there's only like 2 or 3 of those. There's not like 50 of them.
It's
like you think there's 50, but there's really 2 of them or 3 of them.
There's a
lot.
There's that scene at the start where they're in the ice and the dude's like touching his toe, and then he breaks his toe off. He's like,
and it's like
so
confused.
good.
It's like, what do I do?
It's so good. There's so much good stuff.
And the
Prag.
There's one little line real quick that I loved, and it's when they go to Davy Jones, they first get there, and he's like, "Why do I need all you guys' help?" And he's like, 5 of you tried to kill me. 1 of you actually succeeded." And look at Elizabeth. She's
it's so true. Oh shit! Yeah, yeah. And it's so pointed. It's so true. But I want to ask Prag. You're the big political guy. You're the political commentator guy. What did you think about the politics scene of this film?
They're the pirate. Well, I mean, the
pirate.
Whole, I mean, the begins of the film with a political message, right? The whole film lets you know from the jump this is about asserting your natural rights, and you have to do that. The only way you can do that is be organized with other people. That's literally what the movie is about.
No,
you
don't
organize and you have a chance to fight back. It's ironic that it's your favorite
It's just-
film because
it's
it
just
kind of
good guys
fucking
versus
nails
bad
you
guys.
in the
That's all it
nuts
is.
on the.
That's all it is.
As soon as the movie opens, I said to myself,
That is
"This
it.
is one of his favorite movies," and he doesn't even know the beginning of the movie. It's kind of cringe.
Nope.
So
That's not what it is.
the politics of the pirate
That's
council.
not what it is.
Frag. Time
That was
time
hilarious.
Yeah, that's
Go ahead.
actually
Go ahead.
how politics does work out. You have a bunch of competing interests. You have people who have overlapping interests, creating coalitions that form
Yeah.
a council, and then there's vying for different interests. And at the end of the day, because there's a
I love
prevailing
that scene, and I
threat
immediately thought
that they have
of
to work
Prague
together, because
in that
otherwise they're all
scene.
going to die. They have to
course you
join
do.
together or die.
When they started fighting, and there's like, bloody pirates, and he's like, "That's politics for you." I
That's
immediately was
politics,
like,
yeah.
I gotta
That's
ask Prague
great.
about that. That's hilarious.
But yeah,
That's
Prague,
not the politics. That's
Prague.
the fact that they. Go ahead.
When you are saying the messages of this film, Time is
Mm-hmm.
hearing the curtain is blue. He's hearing, when he was in English class, and
Yeah,
the teacher was like, "The curtain is blue because it represents this." That's
No,
what
no,
he's
there's no
hearing when
nuance.
you
They're
say
telling
that.
you directly. It's not even a theory. It's literally
No, it's
this
not.
movie is about the Constitution.
yeah.
It's about it's about the rights of man. It's basically could have been written by Rousseau and Thomas Paine.
All
They're
it's saying
saying
is,
this
hey,
is what's important.
we're hunting pirates and we're killing them. That's it. That's all it's saying. It's not saying.
it
It's
has
not saying.
more. It does
They're
have
reading
more. It
why they're
absolutely
murdering
has
the
more.
pirates at the beginning
Right,
of the film.
pirates. It's not saying it's taking everyone's rights away. It's just saying they're killing pirates. That's it.
They're killing the people in the
But
film that
what
need
did
to
pirates
work together in
represent?
order
Do you
to
think pirates
defeat them.
represented nothing?
But-
Do you think
Yes.
pirates represent nothing? No.
They represent
pirates.
poverty.
They represent
Just pirates.
freedom. They represent
these are people
freedom, poverty.
who didn't have a
Yeah.
system in order they could
pirates.
use their labor in order to
Just
get ahead,
pirates.
so they had to make their own
It's not that
system.
deep, buddy. It's not that deep.
It is that deep.
It's not deep
It
because they
literally
literally
is that
say
deep.
Not that
it
deep.
in the beginning
Not
of
that
the
deep.
movie. I don't even have to pick
Yeah.
through it and say, "Oh, the glasses on the windowsill represents
It is
Joseph
literally what
Ingalls
the
or
film
anything."
is
It's
saying.
it's literally Communist Manifesto. It jumps
No.
right on the screen and says, "This is a Marxist film."
Yes, but anyway, we get back to the politics.
I mean, it's not even it's not even up for debate. It's literally in the script. It's the script.
Yeah.
It's the
I
text
do-
of the script. No,
I love,
Okay.
I love when they're all voting on.
Tron was about the
firstly-
same fucking thing. All these movies are about the same thing. The plot of Tron was the same as the plot of Pirates of the Caribbean. You have less powerful people grouping together for a noble cause against an imperial force. Same
Yes.
movie, same fucking
Same.
movie every
I
fucking
agree.
week.
I'm with you, Prague. I'm with you on
You
this.
don't like it? Change the movie.
guys are
But
wrong.
this
You
is
guys
the
are
same
wrong.
shit.
You guys are wrong.
And then you have 300, which is about basically just how cool fascism is. But anyway, it's
I mean,
all,
that's another thing. That's a different studio.
Yeah.
But Disney
It's a
would make
different
300.
director, different writer.
All Disney movies are like that, though.
Yeah. But I want to say,
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, same thing. Mary Poppins, same thing. All the guys who dust out the chimneys get together to create a coalition in order to fight the injustice in London. That's what that's what Mary Poppins was about.
Did you like? So you weren't a fan of Keith Richards in this film time at all? Like you thought he was corny? I liked him.
Yeah, that
I
was
liked
just corny,
They called
yeah.
him, I like that they called him Captain Teague to
I mean, at the
keep
time-
the keeper of the code, and
I'm just
I
glad
liked his
Keith
performance.
was upright
Alive?
for the show. I'm just glad he was
Alive?
there. I mean, he's barely, what is he, 82 years old? How old is Keith Richards at that point?
Do
Currently
you
or the
know
movie?
why he
Ugh.
is in the film, Brad? Do you know why he was in
Because
it?
he's a pirate. Because
No.
Johnny Depp based his whole fucking character on
Correct.
Keith
Yes.
Richards.
Yes.
His whole
that's
vibe.
why, yeah.
When I watched this movie, I wanted to be watching the Keith Richards documentary, which is about Keith Richards' life, which is about a real pirate who really got fucking down, and not a sanitized version of a fucking McNugget, like relative to a chicken breast is a real piece of meat, and this is a chicken nugget. It's
No.
homogenized. It's
But it's a
packaged,
good chicken nugget. It's a
tested
delicious
within an
chicken
inch of its
nugget.
life.
Oh.
To appease
does-
every audience in the world, all the
It
jokes
is
are
the
made
most
so they can be
perfect
translated into 30 languages.
So
But it's
depending
not though.
on
Like it's
on when
it's,
this movie was filmed, Keith Richards was in his mid 60s.
Wow.
He looks like he's about 1,000.
He's 80
His
now.
nose is so
But I
black.
think-
It looks like
I
his
love it,
nose
though.
is gonna die of
He's
some
80
skin
right
disease.
now. He's currently
The
80 right now.
code's the law. You're in my way, boy. But I want to.
We're gonna review the Keith Richards documentary
I
next.
think
If you
you're
keep it up with me.
completely. But I feel like you could put, like, for blockbuster filmmaking, I feel like this film takes a lot of chances. Like, I really love so much about, like, what film has the weird Johnny Depp like dream sequence? What blockbuster film has like that scene where the
Pirates
ship
1
is
and Pirates 2?
floating across the. No, the Pirates 2 doesn't have this. Like, that's
I'm
why I
just
don't like
saying.
Pirates 2 as much as.
No, they had to do something different. They had already done everything they could do, and
I know,
they're running
and it's
out of
creative.
ideas. So I'm
I
glad
think
they
it's
did try a
creative.
psychedelic interlude, And I'm sure Johnny
Yeah.
Depp came up with the idea. He's half baked
I think it's
95% of
great,
the time.
and I think it's great. You wouldn't see that in like a
I
modern
liked it too.
blockbuster.
I liked that
yeah.
part. I liked the production. I think they pulled it off. It looked great. I love the crabs, in that whole scene. But again, it's like I don't want to see 100 Johnny Depps anymore. At that point, that character is just played out for me.
There is one problem I have with the scene where they release Calypso. You know that scene.
Is it the ropes?
No, I don't care about the ropes. Whatever.
Okay.
Like, whatever. They get bigger. I don't care. Magic.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Magic is fine. I allow magic. It's a magic movie.
That's a continuity error.
I love the scene.
Continuity error is when you leave a coffee cup in the shot on a pirate ship.
Did they do that?
All kinds of fucking shit like that, brother. Just go watch it on Amazon Prime.
I didn't notice
like
it.
I did, and you can pause the movie, and there's a little trivia section that pops up, and every continuity error is enumerated. And then
cool.
I'm like, I can't unsee that.
But I didn't notice it at all while I was watching it. It mustn't have been
Because
that
you
big
were
of a problem.
spellbound.
I've seen the movie 100
Spellbound.
times. Anyway, but there's a scene. There's the scene. I love the idea of like Captain Barbossa trying to release Elizabeth and saying, "Calypso, I release you from your human bonds," and then the like the skinny pirate's like, "No, you didn't say it right. You
didn't say it right. Yeah.
You need to say it like someone who loves her." And then he goes up to her and says,
just whispers in her ear. That's all he does.
That's straight Disney magic right there. That line right there. That's Sleeping Beauty magic, right? That's your heart has to be in it, which is a good message. It should be that way, right?
But in
romantic.
Like within the scene, I think it's great. But I really wish they'd set it up. I really wish there was something that.
This should have been 2 movies. This should have been 2 films. They stuck together 3 films.
No, it didn't need to be. I just need.
I
All
just
they
feel
needed
like they
was
were
a
like
little.
taking chunks and like putting it together and like
No.
forcing it.
But what I'm trying to say is, it just needed a little bit of an inkling that pirate guy had a little more under the surface than. Like I wish he maybe had a crush on Teodama or
depth.
something like that.
Okay.
Just a little thing that
depth.
would have made it.
Sure.
Yeah,
I like that.
I just like in a vacuum. I feel like that it's a good idea, but I wish it was set up. But I really feel like there isn't a lot like that in the film. Like I feel like there isn't a lot of moments that aren't motivated like that.
I like the motivations and I like the performances, but sometimes I don't understand prior to the scene, or it feels like there's so many storylines that it becomes a little knotty, like a set of wires. Like if you have multiple devices and they're all wire connected, and sometimes the wires get a little tangled, and that may not be what you wanted, and it may not even bother you, and it really doesn't bother a lot of people. But to me, it just made it feel a little clunky in some sections.
Yeah. There's a few more notes I have. There's a little one I want to mention. There's that scene where there's a guy on Davy Jones's ship, and he picks up like Davy Jones's sword, and he's just like admiring it, like mid battle. He's just like, huh? And then Davy Jones just stabs him. And what was he doing? Like, he's just staring at the sword.
You know what? I'll
like,
tell you what.
This
film is one of those films that's eminently rewatchable. Like,
yes,
because of the way the narratives are constructed, I could really see how somebody could benefit from watching it multiple times and then get all the wires straightened out in their head and really enjoy all the nuances. It's almost like it was like 3 or 4 little movies narratives that were cooked together, because I was really interested in a lot of the storylines. I really was, because the actors are so good. They're so really good. They're so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Time, is there any other like standout moments that you want to discuss? Because I have a couple more, but I want to hear like anything that stands out to you.
There's one at the very end. So I don't know if you have stuff. If you have stuff prior to that.
Well, I don't know what you're referring to, but
Drop it like it's hot. Go ahead.
I was going to talk about the moment where the ships start showing up, and
Go ahead.
the little wee man guy's like, yeah, the enemy is here, let's kick him. And
Little
then
wee man
out
guy.
of the
You can't say that. You can't say that on the internet.
I'm allowed to say that. Like out of the fog, like billions of ships start showing up. And the music's like dun 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 dun. It's so good. Like I just like they realize how out of their depth they are.
Right.
But then they defeat the commander's ship and they all turn around. It's great. That's the
Death Star scene, isn't it? It's the Death Star.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's classic. And
classic
also,
homage, right? No problem. I love a classic.
Elizabeth Swann's speech is brilliant. Like you got to give me that. Like,
Listen,
like her
I'm not
saying,
gonna ever say anything bad about Keira Knightley. I've been in love with Keira Knightley since Pride and Prejudice.
So, men, raise the colors, and everyone's like, raise the colors. It's just a brilliant speech. One of the best speeches, I think.
It's a rah-rah. It's a rah-rah speech. It's not as good as Friday Night Lights rah-rah speech. Have you seen Friday Night Lights?
No, but I've seen The Great Dictator, which has one of the best speeches
Spartacus?
of all time. No, I haven't.
The Great Dictator? Oh, we got to see Spartacus someday.
But
Great.
go ahead.
It was good. It was good. I agree with you. It was good.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tom. What you were going to talk about right at the end?
So, all right. So the whole thing happens with Will, where he gets fucking murdered by Davy Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in order to save his life, Jack takes the knife and stabs Davy Jones' heart with Will's hand. Yeah, so now he becomes the new leader,
convoluted.
Captain.
That's convoluted.
It's great.
How's that convoluted?
It's not convoluted. It's so simple.
It's like a nod, or I don't know. It's just like sometimes your shoelace, you get a knot in your shoelace.
Jack wanted to
you can still tie your shoes, but it's still a little knotty.
Jack wanted to be immortal, and this was his way to do it. But he was so unsure of it, and then he had to save Will's life. So he's like, "Well, I gotta fucking do this."
He had to give that up. He had to give that up.
All right, I'll allow it. I
think it's great. It's great character arc. Yeah,
and
completing
Louis typical.
And then they make Will the new captain. And then I think I don't know if like the set directors or the costume designers, if they just said, "Hey, every badass pirate that we have in the movie, let's make Will look the opposite of it." He looked awful as a pirate.
What, like with the bandana?
That's not going to sell action figures, is it?
Yeah.
He looked better before. Like, why did they just
100% before?
Yeah, he looked more like a pirate before. I don't know why he had to put the bandana on. But I did like the scar across his chest. I thought that was cool. Yeah.
They're trying to sell action figures. You know why?
One of my favorite parts of this movie later in life, because I've seen it multiple times. So later in life, as you get older, you realize certain things. So at the very end, he's talking to his dad, and he's like, his dad's telling him like, "Hey, you get one day with the one you love, and
depends on the day
for 10 years." Yeah, and then he looks and he's like, "Depends on the day."
Depends on the day.
And it was so gross. I'm like, "Oh, the dude's just gonna go in there. Fuck, that's all he cares about."
Well, and that's exactly what he does. But
that's
don't see that. Yeah, but you don't see that in modern blockbusters. Like modern blockbusters are so sexless, like compared to this.
True. Like you're not gonna see that in Transformers.
No, exactly. Well, Megan Fox. I mean,
the first Transformers is a legend.
That's
a different thing.
No. I'm talking about Avengers. I'm talking about like that. So
because they want to market it internationally. In some markets, you just can't have. Like, look at the Indian market. You can't have any overtures like that.
Verbinski, he treats it like Shakespeare, like the way the music swells, like when he's leaving, and then they put their heads together.
Did you say Shakespeare? Just please don't say Shakespeare.
I said Shakespeare, Tolstoy, War and Peace, like that sort of
Kenneth Branagh's interpretation of the Thor movie is more like Shakespeare, because Kenneth Branagh actually directs Shakespeare and won Academy Awards.
But that film is so sanitized of it's sanitized of sexuality and that sort of thing. I just love Gore Verbinski and the fact that he went for it with this film.
Okay.
And I think this is one of the first examples of a post-credit scene, right?
Yeah.
This film?
So I made that. No. Didn't the reveal of Barbosa being alive? Wasn't that the post credit of the second one?
Okay, I mean this franchise. This franchise.
The first one I think had a post credit thing too. I think
it did. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Right around that year, right? 2007, late 2000s. They started with the post credit reveal to get people to stay.
Was
right?
doing it, maybe.
Definitely Marvel.
X-Men was doing it.
Definitely Marvel movies did
I'm
it.
pretty sure. Yeah, this was like one of the earliest examples of it.
Maybe the Matrix. Maybe the first Matrix film was one of the ones that had one of the first
Matrix had
post-credit
one.
scenes.
Matrix had one. Yeah.
But let me
that
just
was
say,
back in the day, 99 that was from, or something like that.
I love that the film ends with Will and Elizabeth, and like I think they're the. I disagree. I think they're the core.
Well, you're
They're
wrong.
the core of this franchise. Their love is the core of this franchise.
So
it's about those two. It really is. They're the two main characters in the trilogy,
and it's why the
about
later
their
films
romance.
don't work. Anyway, go on, Tom.
So that whole point of me telling that story was I told it to Flame, and I go, look, the dude only cares about fucking for one day. He doesn't want to spend time with her and do whatever.
Don't say fucking in front of Flame Princess. She doesn't need to hear that.
Well, you know what's funny? I didn't say that in front of her. I said no. The thing I said in front of her specifically is, homeboy's just trying to pipe down this bitch. That's what I said.
Listen, I'm going to ask you to log off from the internet right now.
So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to pipe her down.
We're looking for a new guest host for the show. Someone who doesn't use the word bitch on
Let him
Twitch.
finish, Prag.
No, that was it. That was the end of my sentence. God damn it.
Okay. But no, he's in love with her. It's going to be a great day because it's love making time.
Don't you see the energy between those two? Look at me, Mickey, look at me. Where did he go?
I believed in them. I believe them.
Listen, didn't you see the fire between those two? Jack Sparrow didn't have that connection with Elizabeth. Only Orlando had that connection with Kira.
It would never work out.
They're looking at each other like wild animals, like two raccoons in a garbage can, right? It's late at night. They're full of old Chinese food, and they're satiated, but they need to make babies because spring is here. That's the vibe.
I've gotten out everything I want to say. I'm gonna give this film an 80. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's great. I think it's one of my favorite childhood films. 80%, 80 out of 100. That's why I'll sit with it.
Mickey?
Oh, am I allowed to talk now? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Can I talk now?
I'm sorry. I got too exuberant and I interrupted you, Mickey. So, you know how I get.
Give my 5 seconds. That's it. 85. That's it. 85. That's what I get.
85. See, 85? He gave a higher score than me. I thought he would.
I feel a little queasy.
I feel like I was defending it more than he was.
I don't think I'd give anybody any movie an 85. 85 is high. But all right. I give this movie a 47.
Oh, that's not even a pass. That's
higher
unbelievable.
Than Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. Anyway, well,
that's
next
not bad, JC.
Be...
Listen to me. That means it's an average movie. 50 to me is average.
50, yeah, it's less
fine.
than average.
I would give the first Pirates a 73, and I think they should have just stopped there when they dropped the microphone and said, "We did it. Good job, everyone." But then the second and the third, and keep adding characters to the same plot, and then now we can sell more action figures of Caribbean pirates, and now we can sell more action figures of Chow Yun-Fat's character, Asian pirate. To me, it's just too much. But they did do great sets, and I would be proud to show my kids this, and it's great for family. It's a movie that I see in the waiting room at my dentist's office. It's not going to offend anybody. It's not going to scare anyone. It's not going to titillate anyone. It's going to calm you down right before the dentist. It's just something to look at.
Time. Who have we got next week? Let us know.
Next week we have Daniel William Clark.
And he's going to be
the king, the nicest person on Twitch. Nicest person.
Watch?
He is so...
I'm not the nicest person on Twitch.
Sandlot.
Absolutely not.
No.
We're going to watch The Sandlot.
Listen,
one of my favorite movies in the world. It's about baseball. I love fucking baseball. So
it's
this
a
is
great
just
pick.
W's in chat for baseball.
This is a required watch.
You guys can't review The Sandlot before the Sandlot review. Would you guys stop reviewing The Sandlot before you watch The Sandlot?
Still say we're excited for it.
When's the last time you saw The Sandlot? I'm
like,
excited
couple
too.
So Flame had never seen The Sandlot, and I made her watch it a couple years ago.
I think I saw it last year.
Did you tie
Last
her
time.
down? How did you make her? With duct tape?
I did the thing where I opened your eyes like that and made her watch it.
You got to hold her upside down.
Upside down.
With a
Jesus
Crane,
Christ.
yeah. That way she has force to keep her eyes
Yeah.
open.
Get excited for Daniel William Clark showing up on the podcast next week.
I'm
We'll be
very
talking
excited for
about
that.
his
Sandlot.
choice, The Sandlot. It's going to be great. Thank you, everyone.
And then
for
wait, hold
joining
on,
us.
hold up.
Whoa.
Can I say something, JC, before
Yep.
you can't walk me off? I have decided on my film because my film's the one after that, right?
Yeah,
what
but
is your film?
we talk about that next week.
No, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now.
Wow.
I want people to get
right.
excited for it.
Oh my god!
So in 2
Okay.
weeks, what are we watching?
Heat.
That's a
Ooh,
great
I've never
one.
seen that.
Yeah, I've never seen it either. Great choice.
Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. Who else?
Val Kilmer.
The Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer.
It's a banger. You're going to love it.
Directed
Isn't
by
it based
Michael
on
Mann.
a real thing?
A real bank robbery.
In LA.
Real
Yeah.
big ass bank robbery. It's got one of the greatest banks robbery scenes of all time.
That's what I've
It's
heard,
Sick.
yeah.
It's so fun. You're going to
What I've
love
heard,
it.
yeah.
Did you have an announcement, Tom?
I
I swear
did.
you did. Yeah.
What's your
Right on
announcement?
us.
All right. So I'm gonna need the floor for this one. It is.
Let me mute my mic.
All right. So I've been doing this for
I'll mute mine
about
too.
seven weeks right now, and I've had a blast doing this podcast. I've had a lot of stuff going on in the background. I wanted to make this decision by myself. I didn't want Prag or JC to interfere. So saying that, I have got my audio issues fixed. I will be returning to streaming tomorrow.
Let's go.
And that's it. And then I'll see you guys next week also for our Soundlight
Hell
episode.
yeah!
I love how sexy you are when you make this
I
scary
knew he was
announcement.
faking it
I'll
out.
see you guys
I knew it was a
tomorrow.
fake out. I knew it
Chat,
was
doesn't
a
he
fake
look
out.
like the Francis Ford
W.
Coppola when his beard is like that? He's
I
giving
don't
me
know.
young Francis Ford Coppola.
I don't know
and
what time I'll
love
be
it. I'm
streaming
here for
tomorrow,
it.
but I have fixed everything. I'm pretty
I'm
sure.
looking
So
forward to it, Tom.
What time?
That's
What time
awesome.
can we look
I
forward
don't
to
know.
your stream?
Maybe 4 p.m.
3 p.m. All right, great. I'm going
Also-
to make sure to go on at
Pacific Standard
2:30.
Time? Go on
I'm
to
going to make sure to go on at 2:45.
Prague is
Pragpro.
bullying me to play
Speaking-
Elden Ring again. So who knows? Who knows what we're gonna do?
Pragpro.
I
Speaking
got
of
to
Francis-
stream too.
Pragpro, listen to me for 1 second. Yeah? Speaking of Francis Ford Coppola, did you watch his new teaser for his Passion Project, Megalopolis?
With Adam Driver.
No, I have
With
not.
Adam Driver, yeah.
When,
Yeah,
what,
what is that?
what studios?
What the fuck
is that
is
going to
that?
be a movie?
Yeah, it's going to be a movie. It's his passion project that he's trying to be.
Okay, I don't
trying
know
to
if it was
make
a
for,
show.
20.
It's gonna
He,
suck.
Really?
He hasn't got a distributor yet. He's auctioning it at Cannes, I think.
I'll distribute it. Has he called me?
yeah.
No.
No,
There's a whole story behind
But
it too
I'll-
of why it's taking so long to find a distributor.
I'm going to bring this.
It's
I'm going to bring
hilarious.
Mickey around and tell everyone this is
hilarious.
Francis Ford Coppola, and they're going to believe me, and they're going
I'll
to
send
fall
you-
all over him, and he's going to get free dinners.
I'll send you the trailer. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah,
everyone
put
for
it on the
listening.
grandma's Discord. What's the?
I
Do
will.
we have a link to the Discord at the top of the page under the channel banner?
We don't have anything in the channel
Yeah,
banner.
I think so.
Okay.
Anyway,
Please join our Discord. We like to talk about movies. We keep you up to date. Put your favorite trailers.
All right, before we
anything
leave,
movie related.
follow
Come to
Pragpro
our
on everything. Pragpro.
Pragpro. Pragpro.
Yeah.
Pragpro.
Follow
I'm calling
JC.
Mr. JC.
Yeah. sure,
I'm
yeah.
not. I don't stream a lot, but I just like doing this podcast. Time.
He
And then
swims
I'm
at the pool.
Time goes to waste. I'll be on tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Thank you, everyone. You-
Bye.
I love you. I'm going to stream soon. I'm going to probably stream in half an hour.
Press the
We did
button.
it.
Time. Press the button. Time. Press the button. Press the button.
Yay, we did it.
Press the
I'm gonna make a
button.